Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Deacon has officially taken Taylor off the grid to escape Sheila's deadly wrath, and things are getting intense. The legendary Sheila Carter has reached a new level of dangerous obsession, forcing Deacon to hide Taylor in a secret, remote canyon cabin. But as the isolation sets in and internal conflicts arise over how to handle the threat, a violent storm brings Sheila right to their doorstep for a terrifying game of cat and mouse that is far from over. Deacon has spent years watching every side of Sheila Carter. He's seen the magnetic charm, the sharp cunning, and that calculated vulnerability she uses to manipulate everyone. But honestly, the thing that always sent a chill down his spine was her capacity for obsession. Sheila doesn't just focus on something, she becomes it. Recently, her fixation on Taylor had taken a perilous turn. Deacon didn't really care if it was about retaliation, jealousy, or some twisted need to dominance. The only thing that mattered to him was the cold truth. Taylor was in serious danger. Taylor was trying to use her professional mind to make sense of the chaos. She is a world renowned psychiatrist, so she's far from naive. She's seen the absolute darkest depths of human behavior and understands the mental fractures that can push a person over the edge. But let's be real, surviving a monster in real life is something else entirely. As strong as Taylor is, she was completely unprepared to be the primary target in Sheila's lethal game. That's why Deacon had to step in. He kept his plan secret from everyone, including Reach and Brooke. Taylor hesitated, which makes sense given Deacon's past decisions. But when she looked into his eyes that morning, she didn't see the old Deacon. She saw unadulterated fear, and the crazy part, he wasn't afraid of for himself. He was terrified for her. That was enough to convince her. Within minutes, she grabbed her essentials, no messages, no phone calls, just silence and movement. They slipped into his car and left her old life in the rearview mirror. The destination was a total mystery to her, which was exactly how Deacon wanted it for her safety. They drove for hours watching the familiar Los Angeles skyline disappears, replaced by winding roads and increasingly rugged terrain. The hills got rougher, and the silence in the car became its own character. Finally, Taylor asked where they were going. Deacon just told her it was somewhere Sheila would never think to look. That somewhere ended up being an ancient, isolated cabin tucked deep into a far off canyon. Deacon had found it years ago. Back then, it was a sanctuary. Now, it was a hiding place. It was surrounded by massive trees with no cell signals. When they arrived, Taylor took in the silence, and it was almost frightening. She was skeptical, but she also knew she didn't have many other options. The cabin was basic, but Deacon had clearly been prepping. He had food, water, and first aid ready to go. Taylor realized then that he would been anticipating this nightmare for a while. As the days stretched on, that isolation started to really get to them. For someone like Taylor, who is always surrounded by people, the silence felt oppressive. She realized Sheila wasn't just angry anymore, she was falling apart. Back in Los Angeles, the disappearance had caused a total meltdown. Reed was panicking, Brooke was demanding answers, and Steffi was absolutely incensed. Steffi was looking at Deacon's absence with so much suspicion, blaming Sheila for whatever was happening. Meanwhile, Sheila was doing exactly what she does best, observing. She was in the shadows, putting the pieces together. Deacon's absence plus Taylor's disappearance, she did the math in a heartbeat. And she didn't just get mad, she grinned. For Sheila, the case isn't a problem, it's the fun part. Imagine how twisted she must be. The tension at the cabin hit a boiling point when Taylor found a locked box in a closet. When she asked Deacon about it, she got defensive immediately. He tried to brush it off, but Taylor wasn't having it. Nothing doesn't come in a locked box, she snapped when he finally opened it. Taylor's face went stone cold. Inside were papers, old photos, and a gun. She saw it as an escalation, but Deacon saw it as survival. He basically told her to tell Sheila that when she arrives, this highlighted the gap between them, understanding versus neutralizing. That theory was put to the test sooner than they thought. One night, as a storm rolled in, the power flickered and died. The darkness was total. You could feel the atmosphere change. Taylor sensed it first, the feeling that they were alone. Deacon grabbed the flashlight, his instincts on high alert, and they then heard it. A creak, footsteps on the gravel. Sheila had found them. It was a terrifying night, with Sheila circling the cabin like a predator. Her voice was so eerily calm when she called out to Taylor, saying she knew she was in there. Every second inside that cabin felt like an hour. Taylor realized this wasn't a therapy session anymore. It was a fight for survival. She knew Sheila wouldn't stop until she achieved her goal. And when Deacon asked what that was, Taylor looked him in the eye and said, "Me?" The storm raged outside as the power dynamic shifted. Suddenly it went quiet. Too quiet. Deacon thought she might be gone, but Taylor knew better. Sheila was just waiting for the perfect moment. One thing was clear, they hadn't escaped. They had just hit the pause button on the inevitable. The morning brought a grey light through the cabin windows. It wasn't peace. It was eagerness. Taylor spent the hours dissecting Sheila's voice, trying to find a pattern, but Deacon was already moving, checking every window and strengthening every lock. He knew Sheila hadn't traveled this far to leave empty handed. Taylor thought Sheila was just testing them, that the night was a setup. Deacon didn't want to wait to see what she does next. He wanted to take the initiative. Taylor argued that running again wouldn't change anything because Sheila feeds on chaos. It's a psychological chess match. Taylor stood by the window and told him that as long as they were just reacting, Sheila stayed in control. Deacon was practically yelling in a whisper, asking how being threatened outside their door wasn't about control. Taylor insisted that threats have to be confronted with strategy, not just weapons. But before they could finish the argument, a sharp crack echoed from the woods, like a branch breaking under pressure. They both froze. Sheila was still there, she was closer than ever, and this time she wasn't just watching. She was waiting for the first error to be made. The impact of this standoff is going to be felt throughout the entire Forrester and Logan families for months to come. If Taylor and Deacon don't find a way to resolve this, the psychological toll on Taylor might be permanent. She's a healer, but being haunted by a woman like Sheila Carter changes a person at their core. Furthermore, the fallout in Los Angeles is already reaching a fever pitch. Rich and Steffi are going to be absolutely livid when they find out Deacon took Taylor into hiding without a word. It's going to destroy any shred of trust that was left between the families. The jagged shards of trust are going to be impossible to glue back together. The consequences aren't just physical, they are emotional and relational. Sheila has once again succeeded in blowing up everyone's lives. Whether she actually gets her hands on Taylor or not, this Kevin isn't just a hiding place, it's the epicenter of a massive shift in the show's landscape. Okay, I have to say, I'm totally on Deacon's side here when it comes to the gun. I know Taylor is a psychiatrist and wants to believe in the power of the mind. But we are talking about Sheila Carter. You can't therapy your way out of confrontation with a woman who has history of literal kidnapping and worse. Deacon is a survivor, and while his methods might be a bit rough around the edges, he's the only one taking the physical threat seriously. I think Taylor is being a little bit naive by thinking a strategy is better than a weapon in this specific scenario. It's frustrating to watch her try to analyze Sheila while Sheila is literally circling the house like a wolf. I really hope Deacon stays firm because Taylor is going to need that protection when the doors finally get kicked in. This whole situation is peak drama, and I'm here for it. The inevitable had only been postponed by hiding because escape only existed as an illusion in Sheila's world. And now the actual conflict was going to start. The grey morning light was just the beginning of what looks like a total war between Deacon's survival instincts and Sheila's obsession. I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Taylor is right to try and strategize, or should she just let Deacon handle the security his way? And how do you think Ridge is going to react when he finds out where they have been? Let me know your wildest theories in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update on the drama. See you in the next one.